Well, alrighty, fellas. If you are somebody that would like to have a Musashi, the Tier 9 Japanese Premium Yamato class battleship, or an Enterprise, the Tier 8 Premium American Yorktown class aircraft carrier, there's an opportunity coming up where you could potentially walk away with one of these two very rare, very desirable premium ships, and also have the opportunity to potentially shape what is probably going to be one of the biggest updates in the game's history, including, the introduction of submarines and the first CV rework. So how can you do this? Well, what's going on is that if you remember all the way back in, I believe, April, Wargaming first announced their plans to rework CVs again in a pretty big way, addressing many of the player base's grievances against CVs. This is the update we talked about where there's going to be big nerfs to CV spotting. They're going to try and tweak AA to where if a CV keeps repeatedly attacking you, your AA will increase in its potency and stuff. So again, it's addressing many of the player base's grievances. If you want a full rundown, you can check out my video about it here. I'll link it or throw a card up on screen at this point. That rework is going forward. According to Wargaming, they have concluded their internal testing, and now they are ready to move to the public testing phase. So this article appeared up over the weekend, about, I believe, 2 days ago from the point of recording, 3 days once this has gone live. So let's check it out and see what they have to say. So they say, Captains, we have exciting news. As you might remember, we announced our plans to bring significant changes to aircraft carriers last year, and we conducted the first major closed test of these changes earlier this April. Our next step will be the first public test, scheduled from July 22nd through July 29th, 2024, where we invite all of you to try out the changes firsthand and provide your feedback. And then they note here at the bottom, obviously the bait for the players. Moreover, the public test participants will have an opportunity to take part in a special giveaway of multiple Enterprise and Musashi. They didn't add an S behind it, so neither did I. They've gone to say the test will be conducted on a separate server. To participate, please register by clicking the button below. We'll share all the details about the test closer to the date, so stay tuned. So, if you simply take part in this public test of the CV rework, you could have a chance of getting an Enterprise or a Musashi. So, this tells us a couple of things right here. First off, obviously, Wargaming wants the player base to take part in this. And they really do. Believe it or not, they do receive player feedback, and they do take it into consideration when they are making changes. You can look back at a couple of the last big changes to the game. Submarines, they completely got rid of shotgunning. It's impossible to shotgun anymore because the torpedoes don't do jack within 3 kilometers of the target. They also made some other changes to depth charges. I'm pretty sure every single surface ship in the game now, besides DDs, have the aerial depth charges. That way, you don't have to go sail over them in your Golden Lion to try and deal with submarines. Some other changes with the depth charges, the amount of depth charges, the sonar ping now that stays on the surface for much longer. And again, you can just go back, look at some other changes. They really have been taking player feedback into account here recently, and I don't think you can really say they absolutely ignored player feedback. Otherwise, obviously, besides just players screaming to remove submarines, that obviously isn't going to happen at this point. But again, if you go and look at the changes that are coming to CVs, it's like every single major player complaint has been addressed with these changes, or they're attempting to address them with these changes. CV planes, they can't spot anymore, like at all, according to the changes. There's a mode where they're basically just traveling to wherever it is the CV wants to go, and they can't spot jack. They can only spot when they come down for their attack run, from my understanding of the dev blog that was put out months ago, right? So that's gone. And when you're just kicking one ship over and over again, apparently your AA is going to be more effective at kicking that one ship now. That was, again, a major complaint. It's not fun to be the ship that the CV player decides to pick on. They've addressed that, or they're attempting to address it in this case. And now they are literally giving away 2 of the most desirable premiums in the game just for testing this out. Now, if you've been around for a minute, you remember all the other test servers that were put up to test these big changes, mainly submarines and the first CV rework. The first CV rework, there was one round of public testing on a separate server, separate from the public test server, and that was it. I don't think we really got much out of that. Maybe some signals and some containers and stuff, but nothing like an Enterprise or a Musashi. And then we had all the various rounds of submarine testing where, again, we got a couple of rewards for taking part in the public test, but again, nothing like an Enterprise or a Musashi. So the fact that they're giving away an Enterprise, well, multiple Enterprise and multiple Musashi, from what they say here in this article, means they are very interested in player feedback and they want the largest sample size possible. So by just downloading the public test, well, I actually don't know if this is going to be on the public test server. The PTS server is typically used to test the upcoming update. So I think like this weekend it was up for the next update, which is 13.6, 13.7, whatever's coming out next. That's typically what the public test server is used for, and for like the CV rework, and I believe most of the submarine public tests, you had to download another instance of Warships in order to partake in it. So yeah, I mean, what this tells us is they are interested in your feedback and they want you to play on this public test server and check out these CV changes, which I obviously highly encourage you. I mean, just for potentially getting an Enterprise or a Musashi, right? But on top of that too, the more of the player base that partakes in these tests, and the more the player base that give their feedback, that fill out those surveys that they send out with the public test, usually at the conclusion of it, the better the updates will be. Because with the first round of, if I say the first round, the first CV rework, there was like a little survey, one round of testing, and I don't think that many players partook in it, and that was it. And if you're an older player, you remember how crazy the times were post-CV rework, with CVs going from ungodly overpowered to absolutely useless, from hotfix to hotfix to hotfix to hotfix. So clearly they've learned from that. And if you look back at the submarines too, they were in testing for like a friggin' year before they came out. Multiple rounds of testing, and I'm very thankful they did that, because if they had put them out in like the second iteration of submarines, it would have been completely broken. That's back when submarines were still like citadeling battleships and stuff with torpedoes. And if you think the torpedo homing's bad now, you should have seen the second round of submarine testing with those homing torpedoes. It was truly terrifying. So they seem to have learned from over the years, and now they're really trying to again get the player base involved in the public test server. Another reason why you should play, just beyond getting the Enterprise and having your feedback potentially actually heard, you'll know what's up when these changes go live. So you'll have a leg up and won't be caught completely in the dark when these big, massive changes come to the live server. Because yes, while it's going to be have a bigger impact, I would say, on CV gameplay, obviously, there's obviously going to be changes to surface ship gameplay. And it's not like everyone's going to be playing a CV. I'm sure there's going to be plenty of players playing CVs, but they need players playing surface ships as well, so they can test out those new systems in addition to that. And I'm sure, because they've done it with, again, every single public test or whatever new mechanic they're trying out, even if you don't play it that much, you can still earn free stuff from the public test. Even just by testing out the next updates in the normal public test server, you get free stuff by just playing a couple of rounds on the public test server. Now, I'm sure with the Enterprise and the Musashi being up for a giveaway, they're probably going to have some type of higher mission set that you have to complete to be entered in to win the Enterprise or the Musashi, or they very well could just say, you log in, you play a couple of battles, congratulations, you've entered into the giveaway. How's it going to work? I don't know. They say they will release additional information as the time gets closer to it. So I would expect probably like the week, maybe next week or a few days before, they'll obviously have to release some type of instructions. But yeah, moral of the story is take part in this. Again, have your voice be heard. Get some free stuff, potentially get a Musashi or an Enterprise out of it. You do have a deadline to register. It's July 18th. Basically, July 18th by before midnight, July 19th. You do have to register to take part in this test. So I'm assuming it won't take part it won't take place on the normal public test server because you just have to, I believe, download that, log in with your Warships credentials, and you're just already have an account. So it is sounding like it's going to be a completely separate test server again, just like the original CV rework public test all the way back like pre 8.0. So a link to this article will be in the description down below. Go to it, click the registration button, get registered, and then when the 22nd gets here, take part in it, fill out those surveys, play it, get a hang of it, see what it is, and again, hopefully that'll mean this will be a pretty solid update when it goes live. Will it be? I don't know. We'll see what happens when we get there. Again, they are trying to address a lot of the player-based complaints about CVs and surface ships, so hopefully so. So guys, that is it for today's video. A bit of a PSA about the potential chance to get an Enterprise or a Musashi, on top of discussing the changes to the CVs and such. So, hope you guys enjoyed. Have a wonderful Tuesday. If you did find this video informational, entertaining, or you just enjoyed it, make sure you drop a like, leave a comment, and subscribe to the channel, and all of that jazz. Again, hope you guys have a wonderful Tuesday, wonderful rest of your week. Hope to catch you guys in the next one.